All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Today, we are here to deliver some information from Global Study Network. Today, we have with us Mr. Galib Hasnat, who is a regional manager of Educo Global, which is they are working for multiple universities all over the world, like Australia, Canada, Ireland, and USA. So, Mr. Galib Hasnat, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, sir, we are very well.
Thank you for inviting me.
No worries. It's my pleasure. So, actually, we are here to talk about some information about how Bangladeshi students going abroad and what sort of preparation or what sort of queries do they have and how they can cope up with the situation. As you know, the process is very stressful. So, how people like us, people like you, then assist them to prepare a proper application. So
sure.
They're in for their future success. So how the Educo Global, the company you are working for, they're working, how they are working, I mean, which countries they normally work and what they, offer the students?
In Educo International Group, we work mainly in 4 countries, in 12 different institutions.
Okay.
Some of the institutions are owned by Educo directly, and some of us are working with partnership with the universities. So at this moment, we are working with 4 universities in USA, 3 universities in Ireland, 2 institutes in Canada, and 3 institutes in Australia.
All right, that's awesome. So basically, can you enlighten us about the university name which you are working for Australia?
Yes, for Australia, we are working with Southern Cross University. Southern Cross University is actually located in 6 locations in all over Australia.
All right.
We have universities in Gold Coast, Lismore, Harbour, Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth.
Fantastic.
And at this moment, we are working with Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth campus based on the popularity of the students and most demanding subjects, which is BBA and Bachelor of IT, and MBA and MBA programs that we are offering in those destinations.
Okay, that's fantastic. So, could you please tell us about how the Educo Global is going to assist students, or how you could assist the students to reduce their stress on the whole process?
See, we do understand that the entire process, from the application to deciding which university they are going to go eventually, and the entire visa application process, preparing their files, everything needs a lot of attention. And they need to make all the documents very carefully so they don't make any mistakes. Otherwise, they might not get this visa.
That's correct.
So, and it takes a lot of time and effort.
Sure.
And when we are working together with GSN and Educo Global, we can arrange one-to-one conversation with students. Lovely. Or working in a seminar. We can invite the students to talk, and we can prepare them, and then how they can, what to expect when they are in Australia or Canada or UK or Ireland, wherever they want to go. And we can give them an idea, basic idea that what they should do, what they can make I mean, it's a new country, a new environment, new people, new language.
Yeah,
so it is going to be a new experience for them. So how the best they can cope up with these things, we can make them prepared mentally by arranging the seminars and making the conversation.
That's a great idea. Actually, most of the times what happens is, for example, I was a student before. So what I face is the people who is already there. If they provide us some, core information, so that might help us as students a lot, right? So that point of view, this is a very, very good initiative from Educo Global. Thanks to them. And so if you could tell us about the expenses is related to study basically in Australia, what would be looking around about the budget the students is going to enroll in undergrad or in postgrad?
See, the expense depends on the institute that you are applying to. Some universities are charging, every universities are charging differently.
Yeah, that's right.
Some universities charge more, some comparatively less. But I can talk about Southern Cross University, where for undergraduate studies, we are charging something around 26,000 Australian dollar per year, which is actually divided in 3 semesters because it's a trimester system. And then for master's program or MBA program or MPA program, the cost will go up to around 30,000 per year.
All right.
And on top of that, for the students who are applying for Global Study Network, we are actually offering a scholarship based on their academic results.
Thanks, Educo.
No worries. That will be starting from 10%. And 10% scholarship will be available for a student at this moment for the first year. And then based on their academic results and merit, they can apply for other additional scholarships later on when they're studying there.
Yeah, of course. So basically what you are telling is the students is getting 10% when they're applying from GSN, from our company. When they starting up there, that depends on their academic result, they can apply for further scholarships or from funding or from different authorities, right?
We are offering 10% scholarship for the students, yes, at this moment. And for further scholarships and opportunities, to get the scholarship, they obviously need to perform in their academic results. That's their main purpose to go there to study. So once they're doing good, they'll always have options to choose. I mean, apply for more further academic excellence scholarships. Options are there. You can choose it from there.
All right. So nowadays, what I'm getting, too many queries from our groups, from our group members, from page members. What they're asking about nowadays, there is a trend between students. They are trying to go some other cities rather than Sydney and Melbourne. So, is there any additional they think should consider about if they are planning to go in some place like Perth or Gold Coast? What you could tell us about this?
Of course, it's a very good question actually. So those students who are the way it works with the visa, if they are planning to go for staying longer after they complete their student visa, they need to achieve certain points.
All right.
To apply for the further stay.
For the stay, yeah.
So in every state, whether it's in New South Wales, whether it's in Victoria, Western Australia, or Tasmania, anywhere they are staying, they have to maintain the rules for that particular state in Australia. So those students who are studying in Sydney, they have to follow the rules for New South Wales.
Okay.
So, and for Melbourne is in Victoria, but based on the popularity and most demanding cities, these are one of the most livable cities in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's another reason that people find it more attractive to go there. But other facilities and opportunities that comes in other states, say for Western Australia, Western Australia can be listed as a region very soon. That might happen. And once it happens, then the students might get additional points in the point list. So that will be helpful for them.
Students,
for the students in long term, if they're applying those parts, especially Perth, where we have a campus in Perth.
All right, fantastic.
Yes. So we have Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth campuses for Southern Coast Australia. So those are applying for Perth. By the time they're graduating their degree, they might get opportunity to. Might be a bit easier.
Okay.
Rather than Sydney and Melbourne.
Yes. So could you please tell us about the life daily expenses comparison between Sydney, Melbourne, and between Western Australia? Like if you think about the most expensive cities in the world, ranking based.
Yes, it depends. Based on a recent survey, for the living expenses, if you compare with Perth and Sydney, Perth is almost like 21% cheaper than Sydney.
Okay.
And it depends on many sectors like rent, food, transport, daily accessories. Everything's are included in that. And if you count all the things together, then Perth is pretty much 21% cheaper than Sydney and 9% cheaper than Melbourne.
Okay.
And another good thing I want to mention that if any student has any confusion that employment rate is higher in Sydney or Melbourne.
Yeah, that's a
actually, yes. Yeah, its Perth is not doing very bad in this. In fact, Perth is actually better position.
Yeah.
Like the unemployment rate is 5.2% in Perth at this moment, where in Sydney it's 6.3 or pretty much more or less like that. It can be varied. And yes, so the opportunities to get a job and living expense, but is a good option to choose from.
All right. So thanks about the answer. This is a very informative one. So if you could tell us about the, some very recently, I'm getting too many questions about, the university ranking. I mean, some universities, they are very popular to the students in Bangladeshi student society. Some are not. So if you could tell us what is the they think about that when they're applying for a good rank university or popular university, it depends on their visa possibilities. Is there any relation between these two things? If you know what I mean?
Well, to be very honest, universities work totally differently than the immigration.
Sure.
Immigration works by itself. Yeah. We don't have any influence on that.
Okay.
Immigration take the decision based on the profile of the student. So what we can do, we can help the student to make the file, arrange the file in a way that it can actually fulfill all the requirements that immigration might need. So that's where the GTE process comes in. GTE is general entrance for the students, those who are going to study and planning to come back after finishing their study. General temporary entrance is important GTE procedure so that we can take an interview to know the actual intention of the student, and we can collect all the information that might be required for their visa success. So we want to arrange the GTE in such a way so it will be helpful for the students in long term.
So that's a good answer. So if you can explain us about because most of the time we get queries from the students that they ask us about what if I'm getting 5.5 in my IELTS score, or what if I'm getting less than 3 in my bachelor's CGPA, or I'm getting less than 3 in my SSC or HSC individually. The question is, so what would be the solution for the students who is, are not fulfilling the minimum requirements?
See, for the students who are applying for bachelor, they should have an ATAR score of 60, which is more or less pretty much equivalent to 3 and above. So those students who are getting less than that, we can always offer them a pathway program, which is like a diploma leading to bachelor. So those students, for them, if it is not too much low, we can still consider depending on the situation and if we can fit them in a valid diploma program or not. And those students who are not getting enough score in their IELTS so that they can get a direct entry, we can also offer them a language program. Depending on how much low they are. If it is one score is not meeting the requirement, then we can arrange a 10 weeks EFP program, which is language program. And we have options. It totally depends on the person to person or the case to case, that how the profile can be organized or how the decision is taken. So we need to see the profile of the student, and then we can decide if we can take him or not.
All right, sure. So if you could tell us about the documents they're going to be needing about when they're applying for an offer letter. I mean, the first stage, what sort of documents you guys require?
Initial offer letter, we have a requirement for academic requirement, of course. The student must have at least 60% above marks in their SSC or HSC. Or if they're going for PGD program, postgraduate program, then they need to have at least 2.5 and above scores in their bachelor. So, and also we need to make sure that the students who are applying for undergrad, they should have, for direct entry, they need to have IELTS score no less, overall band score 6, no band less than 5.5.
All right.
And for those who are applying for postgraduate degree, they should have 6.5 overall, no band less than 6 in their IELTS. And if they, unfortunately, they cannot make, we understand that sometimes student might not be able to fulfill those scores. There might be an accident or something happened during their exam. Maybe they're tensed or something happened, so they cannot meet the requirement. So if it is 1 or 2 band less than that, we can arrange a language program, or we can take the student through the diploma leading to bachelor or advanced diploma leading to master's degree. Options are there. As I said, it depends on every case.
All right. Yes. So, all right. So that means when the students want to apply for Southern Cross University, so they're going to be needing their academic certificates and transcripts,
academic transcripts and certificates, passport copy, first 2 pages of the passport, their application form, of course, and the IELTS copy.
And
so this 4 is good enough for initial document application. Once they submit these documents, we do the initial screening.
All right.
I do the initial screening, and then we launch the application.
All right.
And then within 24 to 48 hours, we can offer a offer letter.
Oh, that's very fast actually, compared to the others. So anyway, so this was our session today. If you guys have any queries about Educo Global or about Southern Cross University or any other universities which are Educo Global working for right now, like some universities in USA or some universities in Canada and Ireland. If you guys have any more questions, just give us a buzz, write a comment underneath or just inbox us, so we'll get back to you as early as possible. Thank you very much for staying with us, and have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Bye.